here we are, and I'm excited to just share like the then and now. At that time, were pastoring, you're still pastoring, but in a different way. And so sharing that, and then also the evolution of you being a relationship and marriage coach.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
talk.
First of all, Tamra, it's so funny because I had memories of that first podcast. And one of the things that I think so often we wait until everything is perfect in order to start. And you didn't. And me coming into that environment, I was like, wow, this is so nice, because
Yeah, it
you
was
know,
nice then too. It's just funny to see the difference, but you're
right.
right.
I mean, like how you've grown and just like, I don't know. I just remember that first experience. It was important for me to be on your show for many reasons because one, I had this idea of a podcast in my mind, but it was just an idea. And so to be able to actually see it happening in real time and being a guest on your show and seeing like how that was manifesting, it was just really, really important for me. And so I think just off the bat, I just want to encourage people to not wait until you have it all together and until it looks professional and all of those things. When I first launched my podcast, we did it in my closet. Like literally, there were
Yes,
clothes all around. And so I
yes.
never went on video because my closet is a disaster.
I love
I was
that.
like, I'm never going to show anybody this. But it was a dream. And I decided, you know what? It's time. Let's just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we could end the podcast right there because that is such a nugget for so many people who are listening live and coming on later because it really is about that concept of progression. And that was actually one of the first books that I read for like a self-help professional development book, Present Over Perfect by Shaun
Mhm.
Nequist. I can never say your last name right.
Yeah.
And that was right before I launched my podcast. I started thinking about writing a book. I developed Core. And it was just one of those moments where I'm like, this is my life. I'm literally waiting for everything to be just right when I could just say right now is just right.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
so good. So talk to us about that evolution, even just the podcast conversation. I think that's a huge component of what you do and how you show up in the world now.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of it happened organically and intentionally. I like to say that because, because some people are like, I think it's just supposed to happen just so, and it doesn't usually happen the way that you think it's supposed to happen. But I had just been like dishing out all of this marriage advice for free just because, people would be attracted to our story and what God has brought us through in our own marriage. And so I was like, I really need to work more efficiently because I'm saying the same thing to all of these different people. Why not have a resource where they can go and I can just point people to that resource? And so that was really the starting point of the podcast, was really starting it to be a resource. I've also always wanted to kind of have like my own radio show or talk show. And so it's so much fun. It is literally the most fun that I have all week is producing my show. But I think, when I as a pastor, there's lots of things that I'm privy to as far as marriage counseling and pastoral care and all of those things. And I was finding that so many of these stories were the same. And I was like, okay, Lord, what is the root issue of what people are dealing with? And so that's really what we go after on my podcast, is really helping people to talk about like those root issues, not like the little things, not the little symptoms of the problems, but like what are the root issues? And so again, really just developing a central place for people to be able to come. Some people can't always afford coaching, or they don't think they can, right? We'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
no, they don't think they can. They can. But so that's just a launch pad for people to find out a little bit about me, to find out about what I do, and then to get some really great, tips from not only myself, but from the guests that I bring on the show as well.